Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. He wants to hang out with you next week, and I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to,
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that.
Terrence Howard worked on my first film, Get Rich or Die Trying with me. He's a good friend of mine.
This is real life that we're talking about. We're not talking about dingleberries and applesauce. Yeah, real life.
Just when you thought the Diddy drama couldn't get any messier, 50 Cent is stepping in with another bombshell, revealing that he might have literally saved Terrence Howard from becoming the next victim of Diddy's freaky games. But that's not all. Terrence is finally speaking out, and he's naming names, calling out industry men who didn't have the guts to tell Diddy no. Terrence just spilled some major tea on the twisted games being played in the industry, exposing how some men willingly gave up their manhood at those infamous FO parties, and how he barely escaped Diddy's trap. But here's where it gets even wilder. 50 Cent has allegedly reached out to Terrence to appear in his upcoming docuseries Diddy Do It, and word is the two are teaming up to expose everything. So who are the men who said yes to Diddy? Some big names are already being whispered about, including a few fan-favorite rappers. But the real question is, does 50 Cent actually have receipts lined up for this documentary to expose all of Diddy's party guests? And what exactly happened when Diddy allegedly tried to lure Terrence Howard into one of those wild parties? Let's break it down.
It's right. It's like when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I could have been right. No, I'm still right because I could have been wrong.
So just in case you haven't seen it yet, Terrence Howard recently stopped by the PB podcast for a wild interview, and he did not hold back. He opened up about how some big-name celebrities allegedly gave up their integrity at those infamous industry parties. According to Terrence, what goes on behind closed doors in Hollywood is darker than most people realize, and he's finally ready to talk about it.
Do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy party.
And then Terrence took things even further, saying this is exactly what happened with a lot of the celebs who went to Diddy's parties. According to him, some of these stars didn't just attend, they willingly crossed lines, gave up their values, and got caught up in something much bigger than they expected.
That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
And when the host Patrick Bet David brought up names like Justin Bieber, suggesting they might have been caught up in Diddy's mess, Terrence agreed, saying, "You can tell some of these people are still dealing with the trauma of whatever went down." His tone made it clear. He believes there's more behind the scenes than fans ever realized, and the emotional toll is still visible on some of these stars today.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
But Terrence didn't stop there. He also claimed that Diddy actually tried to hook up with him. According to Terrence, it all started when Diddy reached out pretending he needed help with acting, something that already felt off. Then Diddy started showing sudden interest in Terrence's music career. That's when Terrence's assistant stepped in and gave him a heads up, saying something just didn't feel right about Diddy's intentions. Terrence said that warning made him step back and reevaluate everything.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you.
Terrence Howard recently opened up and said Diddy wasn't the only big-name producer who tried to make shady offers. He said several producers approached him in strange ways, and he had to threaten some of them for being disrespectful. He explained that real men don't accept certain things, and that staying true to himself cost him big opportunities in Hollywood. Terrence said he refused to bend over, both literally and figuratively, and wouldn't take roles where he had to kiss a man or play a gay character because it went against his values. As expected, social media blew up after Terrence's interview. Most celebrities are quiet about Diddy, acting like they never knew him, except for a few like 50 Cent and Cat Williams. Terrence is one of the few big stars who openly said Diddy tried to get with him. Speaking of 50 Cent, he's been talking a lot about his upcoming documentary on Diddy. When asked why he's the only one being vocal, 50 said it's simple. He never went to Diddy's freaky parties. He explained that a lot of celebrities, who are quiet now, were actually involved in those parties. 50 said he's just not into that freaky stuff and likes to keep things normal. He even posted a clip of Terrence's interview on Instagram and said, "No comment. I'm staying positive. God help us all." But 50 is also turning this drama into a business move. His upcoming Netflix documentary, Diddy Do It, is all about exposing everything that's come out since Cassie sued Diddy. Sources say 50 already reached out to Terrence to be part of the series and share more of his story. It makes sense, since 50 and Terrence go way back. 50 once stood by Terrence when he said he was blacklisted by Hollywood and scammed out of millions. Terrence has also spoken up about Hollywood's attempts to weaken black masculinity. He says he was labeled difficult just for refusing to wear dresses or play feminine roles. He believes Hollywood lets white men appear strong, but sees strong black men as a threat. Terrence was also asked about Taraji P. Henson saying she was underpaid, and he wasn't surprised. He shared that he only made $12,000 for his lead role in Hustle and Flow, which made over $75 million. Even worse, he didn't get any royalties from the music he performed in the movie because Paramount credited the songs to DJ, the character he played, instead of using his real name. Terrence is now thinking about suing Paramount to get the money he's owed from the past 20 years. He also said he was paid just $6,000 for his role in Crash, even though the movie won an Oscar. He explained he was just trying to survive back then and didn't know how Hollywood worked. After hearing this, 50 offered to help Terrence and even asked him and Taraji to join G-Unit Films, saying he would pay them what they really deserve. He posted clips of Terrence's story and told him to call his phone so they could make it right. Now that Terrence has spoken out against Diddy, it looks like he and 50 are teaming up to expose everything. Fans are loving that 50 Terrence. Cat Williams and a few others had the guts to say no. But the big question is, who said yes? Terrence said a lot of men lost their man card by letting Diddy take advantage of them. Sources say 50 is fully committed to exposing everyone in his documentary. One name that keeps coming up is Jay-Z. Jay now acts like he was never close to Diddy, but that wasn't always the case. Diddy once said Jay was like family and the first person he called when in trouble. Jay even skipped Blue Ivy's recital to perform at Diddy's Bad Boy anniversary show. In a 2023 Carpool Karaoke episode, Diddy said the only person besides his mom who can call him by his real name, Sean, is Jay-Z. And just before Cassie's lawsuit, Jay recorded a tribute to Diddy for his BET Lifetime Achievement Award, something he doesn't usually do. There's also a clip of Diddy singing Happy Birthday to a shirtless and oiled-up Jay-Z at Diddy's house, and a viral photo of Diddy in French Montana spooning in Miami. Of course, 50 Cent reposted that picture and said, "What in the world is going on in this picture?" Another person rumored to be in 50's documentary is The Game. He once said Diddy wanted to sign him, but for 2 years all they did was party. They traveled the world, and Diddy gave him expensive gifts, but they barely made music. In a different interview, The Game said again that all they did was party in Atlanta and hang out at Diddy's restaurant. He said Diddy seemed interested in signing him, but nothing ever happened. Other names possibly being included in 50's doc include Stevie J, who was named in a lawsuit by producer Lil Rod. Lil Rod claimed Diddy bragged about sleeping with Stevie. Stevie later defended Diddy and got a little too emotional in his response to 50's posts. Machine Gun Kelly, who was signed to Bad Boy, also hinted that he saw crazy things around Diddy but didn't give details. DJ Khaled and Rick Ross might also be exposed. Diddy's former worker Jonathan Odd said in police questioning that Diddy hired him for those freak-off sessions, and when he got an STD, things got even messier.